Well, hello there and good day. Thank you for joining me. I am Frost PDP, and today we're continuing our Crusader Kings 2 sort of tutorial. We're looking at the Council tab. So first of all, hit F3 on your keyboard if you haven't already. It'll bring up your Council tab. It lists 5 key positions. These are not the only positions you need to worry about, because there's a Council thing here where you can see advisors pop up as you gain, as you go to Kingdom tier and Emperor tier, you will have advisors. This tab has been heavily worked on since Crusader Kings 2 was first designed 6 years ago. A lot of things have changed. Vassals want positions on councils. Councilors have different powers. What does it all mean? Well, let's begin with the big 5. You have a Chancellor, a Marshal, a Steward, a Spymaster, and a Court Chaplain. Each of these guys does something. Each of them is unique in their own way. You can appoint them generally at will. They each get a vote when you're trying to pass laws, which you can look at with the F4 shortcut. But we're not going to get into laws right now, because that's a whole can of worms that's just complicated, and we're not going to deal with it. Right now, we're just going to look at the Councilors tab. So you will see that each of these positions is held by a character, or a person. If you hover over them, it will say that they're your Chancellor, they're your Marshal, etc. Now, this little button here, not too important, but there's one similar to it on your character sheet that we looked at last episode. I always like to forbid myself from leading armies, just because if you're leading an army, you can get killed. It's not usually a good thing. Sometimes you want to, if you're a really good commander, you need to make some progress, you might do that, but that's not ideal. So let's look at your Councilor. First of all, he has a skill of 9. Just like this is blue, and diplomacy is the key score here, this character has a diplomacy of 9. He's considered decent. He's got an 8. He's considered decent. He's got a 0. He's considered incompetent. So the steward is incompetent, by the way. We'll have to deal with that. But our Chancellor has a skill of 9. He likes us. This is his opinion of us. Opinion's a whole other concept that we're going to get into much later. But for now, just note that a green opinion is a good thing. This means they like you. If you hover over the little opinion box, it will tell you opinion of liege. You are the liege. That means their opinion of you is a 54, this guy. Okay, cool. It tells you why, all the different things that make him like you. Let's click the appoint button. Let's see if we can get someone better. This guy has a diplomacy score of 16. Compared to 9, that is a 7-point improvement. That's incredible. This guy also has a claim on something, so we could manipulate him in a way and make him like us even more. He's got such a good score that we want to give this guy the position of Chancellor. He's our religion. These are the traits that he's got. This is his education. It's all about diplomacy. He's got other stats that he's good at. He likes us a little bit. Not a lot, but he'll like us more when he's on our council, because if you hover over this guy, it says Chancellor plus 10. So that means this guy will automatically get a plus 10. Keep in the back of your mind, this guy will not be happy that he's fired. He'll be kind of upset. He'll have a negative opinion of you. But that's okay. In this case, it's worth it. And yes, this guy is landed. He's a Baron tier character. He's got that bronze thing around him. So it's good to keep him happy with me. But a 7-point improvement is worth it. So you click on this guy. He is now your Chancellor. He needs a job. He can do one of 4 jobs. If you hover over them, they will describe what they do. So if you hover over this one, it's perform statecraft. He will stay in your court, and he will work to improve relations with random vassals, neighboring rulers, and your liege, and he will lower your threat. Threat is a concept that basically says, if you're attacking a lot of people, you will find that neighbors around you will band together to try to fight you. It's similar to a coalition in Europe Universalis 4. We can talk all day about how it's implemented. You don't even necessarily have to have it implemented, but I think you have to have it for achievements, so it's a mechanic. It's worth encountering. Threat decay speed is plus 16%. That means he will, he will decay your threat 16% faster than it would naturally. So that's good, right? You decay threat 16% faster. There are other possible outcomes. This is all random number generation. I don't know that I like that, because in most cases, you want something predictable. But while he's performing statecraft, he may, with a 42% chance yearly, improve relations with someone. Basically, they'll get a pop-up saying, hey, this guy likes you better. There's also a 1.81% chance yearly that he will sabotage relations with a lord, meaning he'll make someone not like me. This is all based on the diplomacy skill. Someone with a lesser skill will have worse numbers. He'll be more likely to screw up and less likely to get it right. Let's hover over improved diplomatic relations. You send your chancellor on a diplomatic mission to improve relations with your vassals or the ruler of another country. You'll notice how they actually have the same potential outcomes, but better numbers on it. There's bigger numbers anyway. You're more likely to screw up, but you're more likely to get it right. This is because this person is going to a county and deliberately working with the people within that county. Similar to that is sow dissent, which is the fourth one. I know we're skipping that shield, but we're going to skip it for a minute because this is related. Sow dissent is have your character sow dissent between local nobles and their lieges. The idea is you send this guy in and he causes trouble. He's deliberately trying to put people against each other. He may get caught. He's got a 4.15% yearly chance to get caught. But he's also got a 32.04% chance to make a vassal dislike his liege. So if you're trying to assassinate somebody and they like their liege, you might send this guy in there to break that relationship up so that he's more likely to help you. Finally, the Chancellor can fabricate claims. You send your Chancellor to fabricate claims on landed titles held by local rulers. A highly skilled Chancellor may even fabricate claims on a duchy. Only with the Become King ambition is it possible to fabricate claims on a kingdom. Okay, what does that mean? Basically, you send this Chancellor out to go fabricate a claim. He has a 15.78% chance to actually succeed and say, hey, I can get you a claim. This will generate you a strong claim, which you can see claims here, by the way. I have none. This would give me a strong claim on whatever I'm trying to fabricate on. Here's the rub. It costs you money, which if you don't have money, you can't do it. And it's an opinion thing. And then you only have the claim. You have to go to war to take the land. No big deal. Just something to consider. That's your Chancellor. You'll notice how you have to do this for pretty much everyone, right? Well, hold on here. This guy is my Marshal. He's the Earl of... I can't say that. His county is actually this county. He owns a whole county. He has people that report to him. He is, as you can tell by this little fist here, a powerful vassal. He expects to be on the council. That fist is not lit up glowing red. That is a good thing. It means he is happy he's on the council. He's the Marshal. He doesn't have a penalty. Taking him off will give a -40 opinion penalty. So even though there are better people to put in the position, I may want him on the council no matter what. Now, we're going to be replacing our steward, so we'll talk about that in a little while. But the Marshal, we're going to keep him. Even though he's not so great, we're going to keep him. And there are 4 things he can do. This is global. It's called Organize the Army. He will try to organize my armies and drill my commanders. It reduces retinue monthly cost and horde monthly cost. I don't have a horde, so that's not relevant. But retinue monthly cost. Retinue is basically a standing army you keep. You have to pay them. This reduces the cost of them. Don't worry about that. We're really tiny. We don't have retinue. There are also 3 possible outcomes. You can improve a commander, which means, hey, there's a commander I have. He's going to be getting better. He's going to improve martial score and learn traits. There's also commander found, which means if I need a commander, he'll just kind of automatically pop one up that's pretty good. There's no guarantee he'll do this, but he's working on it. Then there's commander brawl, which is a negative event. It basically means he fights with the commander. His scores are low, so he's got low chances to do anything good and high chances to do something bad, relative to other characters. The other things you can ask him to do. One is you can ask him to suppress revolts. You send in troops, and you have a better chance of arresting any vassals you need to arrest. So let's say someone's committing a crime. You send your Marshal to suppress revolts. You're more likely to catch the guy. Also, if you have let's say a peasant revolt situation going on where you have a percentage chance for your peasants to revolt, you can lower that. So it's good to have around if you have a small realm and you have issues with revolts. There's trained troops, which sends your marshal to increase the size of your levies in a county. This guy will increase my levy size by 20%. Levy is how many troops you have, by the way. So it's really important when you're really small to have more troops. We're going to be doing this. And there's levy reinforcement rate plus 40%. Now there are some potential outcomes here. You can get levy reinforcements, which means you replenish your troops even faster, which is great. Or you can get a noble interferes, which means this guy gets into a conflict with a local noble, and it wrecks your ability to recruit troops. So there is a possible downside to this. But when you're really small, you want this. Finally, there's research military technology. You send him to a county, and he improves military spread rate. There's possible negative outcomes, but we're not going to worry about that because they're rare and they're not the end of the world. I mean, a drill accident means he gets hurt, and secrets revealed means, I guess, tech spreads. I've never seen that. And I have 700 plus hours in the game. I've never seen that because I never use it. The only situation where this is really advisable is if you're stronger than any of your neighbors and you just want to improve your tech rate, which generally isn't a thing. So I'm going to send him to train troops in my capital. If you own more than one province will be green. Grayed out provinces, you can't send it to. You'll just automatically select it and bail out. I'm going to tell this guy he's going to train troops in Mumu, which is my capital. Well, my capital is technically two-headed, but we're just going to call it my capital. You'll notice that once you send him to do stuff, there's a lockout to being able to send him somewhere else. So once you assign a councilor a job, you cannot send him somewhere else for a while. Cool? Okay, that's our marshal, our stewardship. This guy is a mayor. You can tell because of the particular ribbon he has. Don't worry if you can't identify particular barons yet. You'll learn. This guy is a baron. He's got the bronze ribbon and everything. He's got a score of 0. He's incompetent. We don't want him. We're going to replace him with this person, who's a commander. Now, he's a good commander. He's heir to a bishopric. He's a good character to have on your council. But what are these little things up here? Well, these little praying hands indicate his likely council positions. The higher the score, the more likely it is the character will choose the given council position. But it's not guaranteed, right? So if a guy likes you, really likes you, he might be what's called a loyalist. He's got a heart. That means he will always vote for you when you're voting for something. If you're changing the law, he will vote for you. There's an opposite to this. I can't find one in this particular character's situation, but it's a big red thumbs down, and it means malcontent. It means he will be against anything you try to vote for, unless it directly benefits him. So with that in mind, there's Zealot, who's going to like holy wars, but not like fighting people of your religion. There's Pragmatist, who's going to be conservative. There's Glory Hounds, who want you to go for like big conquests and fight strong opponents. Loyalists, and malcontents. Just be aware that if you're appointing a lot of malcontents, you might find them trying to do sneaky things and screw you over. I know, this is a big thing. Council is a huge, important thing. We're only on the first tab of council. So we're going to appoint this guy. He's my nephew. He's going to like me. He's going to have a stewardship of 9, which is way better than a 0. Anyway, his outcomes are now better. You can leave him as administering the realm, which is a global thing. It affects all of your provinces. And you can improve stuff, or there can be smugglers that get in. This is great when you have a big realm. It's not great when you have a small realm. Collect taxes. Send your steward to ensure efficient taxation in the county. You get a default local tax modifier. It's better for whoever, depending on who you appoint. And you have possible outcomes. You can collect an extra tithe, which is basically getting a huge chunk of money. So first of all, you're getting 22.5% more taxes from this county. That's huge. But also, if you get a special tithe, guess what? More money. There's also a chance that the peasants attack the steward, which means he may get hurt or killed. But that's okay. The other things you can do are oversee construction, which improves your build modifier. And it's basically great if you have a a newly conquered province you really want to build up. That's a great thing to have your guy do. Other than that, I find this button useless. Then there's research economy tech. It's just like military tech. If you have nothing better for the guy to do, you can have him research stuff and spread technology. But that's not ideal. I would use this for a small country where you need to maximize your output. I would use this for a large country where you want to improve your domain. So we're going to order this guy to collect taxes here. And now we come to the Spy Master. This guy is your best friend or your worst enemy. Why? Because Spy Master is what it sounds like. And by the way, you do have to pay these guys a little bit. Like, you do pay them. They get a salary. So just keep that in mind. It's usually not relevant because if you're in a position where you have to be like, well, I can't afford a counselor, you're screwed. You're already in trouble. So anyway, Spy Master. Well, he's got a skill of 12. He's good. Is there anyone better? There's not. But here's the thing. This is my nephew. He does not have a claim on my land. He is what? Mercat. He is third in line. So if you hover over your shield, right, it will tell you your primary title, which is Petty Kingdom of Mumu, and you own it. And then it explains the line of succession, which we're going to get into next episode with laws, but just keep this in mind when you're selecting a Spy Master. The line of succession matters. When you die, your character will die. You just get old and you die. Or you get assassinated, or you fight, and something happens, you die. You pick up as your heir, right, the next person in your dynasty with a claim to the throne, which is my son. So right now, when you hover over this, according to our succession law, which is agnatic, cognatic, gavelkind. Again, don't worry too much about what it's called right now. We're going to get into that later. The first person who will inherit is Brian MacMurcad Brian. I can't say that. Basically, my son. The next person who will inherit is Concobar MacDonough. Now, you click this button, and you can see the line of succession much more clearly. This is my son. I hover over it. It says my son. Next up is my half-brother who will inherit, right? Third up is my nephew, who is my Spy Master. This is dangerous. He could, if he's a bad guy, and he's a kind, but he's deceitful, he's brave, but he's lustful. By the way, the B key goes back. Sometimes that's useful. So if you click on a portrait, you want to go back, you hit the B key, boom, you're back. Okay, good. He is third in line. That means if he were to kill me, my son, and my half-brother, he would be king. This can and will happen. The AI may decide to play a character who tries to kill off his family members to gain the throne. It happens. I've done it. You will do it too. This is how the game is played. It's the medieval dynasty game. Like, sometimes you do this. If you have an evil character, do it. I don't make good characters do this sort of thing. If my character's got a lot of positive traits and he's a good guy, I will play him that way. But if I'm playing an evil character and I have once played the spawn of Satan, I will assassinate anybody for power. Keep that in mind. Your vassals may decide to do the same thing, especially if they don't like you, especially if they stand to inherit your land. With that in mind, we go back to the Council tab and we say, yes, this guy's the best guy for the job. You will note that his plot discovery chance is plus 12%. Possible outcomes, plot uncovered, 10.3. Factions, this is an important one. When he is scheming, he is trying to break up enemy factions. Basically, your vassals can get together and decide they want changes to your laws, want to install different people in charge of your empire, whatever. The scheme function, which is what I 9 times out of 10 will have my people doing, will discourage that. If you have a problem with factions, you set your Spy Master to scheme, he will try to stop you from joining factions. Paradox has improved this function a lot, by the way. You used to have to send the Spy Master to a particular county. As of this current patch, which is Jade Dragon, it's a global function. He's just out there trying to break up stuff, right? Keep this in mind. He's got a 9.61% chance of finding a way to discourage a vassal from factioning against you. But that's based on this guy's stats. These numbers are actually going to go down in a little bit. First, let's go through what other things the Spy Master can do. The Spy Master can sabotage a province. You send him into an enemy province, he will try to burn stuff down. So if your neighbor is really strong, you can send your Spy Master in. He'll burn down some buildings, weaken your neighbor. You're better off. Build a spy network. If you're trying to assassinate somebody, this is useful because it gives you a plot power increase. Plot power needs to be over 100 to have a good chance of killing someone successfully, so yay. That's the break point. There's a chance if you're below, there's better chance if you're above, but 100 is where you want to be. So a 6% increase is good. He can also spread rumors, try to uncover corruption. He's much more likely to discourage vassals from joining factions if he's in a particular province. So let's say you have a vassal who's really problematic, you send this guy in, he'll mess things up. But this is only of limited use if you're doing something specific and targeted. This is a scalpel. A lot of times I prefer bigger solutions. Study technology is the other thing. You send your spy master off to study technology in a country. You have a possible random event where you get 50 tech points in one of the 3 tech categories. There's martial, there's economic, and there's cultural. We'll go over that in another episode. But study technology, boost your technology acquisition rate, is very useful. And as you see, this guy has a 16.02% chance to trigger that bonus, hey, you got 50 tech points. But because this guy is of my dynasty and I'm playing very cautiously as a small guy with the possibility of having my nephew assassinate his way to the throne, we're kicking him out. We're making my well, we can't make him the half-brother because he's also in line to inherit. In fact, all of these guys are my kinsmen. See how they're my kinsmen? They have a chance of inheriting my lands. So, this guy is very far away from the throne. We're gonna think about this for a while. See, it does matter who you pick. And you know what? We're gonna change him just because I said we would, but we might change him right back. So we're gonna change him. And you see how his numbers are less? He's only got a 9.1% chance. Yeah, that's a thing. So we're gonna make. By the way, you can sort by a score by clicking these. So now he won't come back. My old spy master won't come back. That's fine. If you need a guy with intrigue, you click intrigue. If you need a guy with marshal, you click marshal. It sorts by number, and it does this for any window like this. Anyway, moving on. Court chaplain, the last one. First off, you're not always going to be able to appoint someone as a court chaplain. They generally have to be aligned with the church to be the court chaplain. That's not a requirement, but it's just a thing. This guy's got a 17. He's really good. We're not going to unappoint him. The 4 things you can do. 1, hunt apostates. This is global. It boosts your piety. Oops. But it also has a possible outcome of apostate found. Basically, this guy will search through your vassal stuff, find out if any of them are doing inappropriate things for their religion. If they're in a secret society, maybe the spawn of Satan, you'll find that guy. And you can then jail them or imprison them or whatever. The only downside to this is when you find an apostate, your choices are basically to either upset your bishop by letting them go or do something to the person. You can burn them at the stake, you can imprison them, you can punish them somehow. So this is great if you have a problem with people from other religions trying to screw you over, if you have a lot of secret societies messing you up, or if there's people you want to get rid of that you think are in societies, they'll pop up and then you can get rid of them, either imprison them or kill them. But I don't like this button. It's not really great for me. Next up is proselytized, and this is really essential. If you hit the R key, you'll bring up the religious map mode. And you'll notice that everything around me is Catholic because I'm playing in Ireland, right? But down here, there's Sunnis. There are these provinces here that have lines, right? They're kind of both colors. Well, when you go to the political map mode, you'll notice that they're owned by a person with a different type of shield. Instead of a shield, it's like a hexagon. That means they're of a different religion. This is a shield. This is not a shield. So this person is a Sunni, you can tell, because he's got green instead of blue with his silver, right? He's an Emir. That means he's a Duke tier character. You can kind of tell that from the crown here, too. He is Sunni. He is trying to convert this land to Sunni. That's good if you're Sunni, that's bad if you're not. If I had a heresy, which is like a divergent branch of my religion, or if I had just a Sunni province here for some reason, I could try. If I own it, I can try to convert it. The problem is, yeah, so there's a chance to convert. It's about 25% yearly. You can also convert individual people, and there's the possibility that like you'll find weird nobles doing weird things, but that's not a big deal. You can research cultural tech, which is nice because it does improve culture tech, which can be very helpful. But this is something you have him do if you have nothing better for him to do. You may find a great philosopher or heretic find, or you can have your guy go improve religious relations. So this is a way to send. It's very similar to the council's ability to improve diplomatic relations, because you send the person to a religious leader, possibly the Pope, for example, and improve relations with the priest. So let's say you want to be on really good terms with the Pope because you want him to send you stuff. I know that's often forgot about in Crusader Kings, but that was a really early on mechanic that was really important. Well, you can do that. You can try to make the Pope like you. Is it worth it? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. The Pope always has a lot of money. His balance is 24.1. So he gets money. He sometimes gives it to you if you're in a holy war. He can call for a crusade, stuff like that, right? If the Pope likes you, that is a good thing. But you can operate independently of the Pope. You can even make an anti-Pope. That's a real historical thing. So for now, we're going to send this guy to do this. And we're done, right? We're done. Except we're not. There's these other things. So Liege Council is only relevant if you are a vassal to someone else. It will show you, hey, this is the Liege Council. This is your place on it or not place on it. Whatever it is, right? And you can interact with your liege through this. You may be a duke, but if you have a king, you may be on the liege's council, and he may have you being his spy master, which makes you better to assassinate people. Because that's the thing, the spy master is really good at assassinating people. If your spy master doesn't like you, and in fact, I'm going to send this guy a little gift, 15 ducats to improve his opinion by 22, just to make him really like me, so he's not likely to try to kill me. He's a title payment, though. He might. So yeah, there's these two other tabs here. My council just shows you a few things. The Enforced Realm piece is if you have a lot of vassals fighting each other, you can tell them to stop. Read up on this on your own. It's occasionally useful if you have a real problem trying to keep your realm together, but whatever. It tells you your likely voters. So this is the opinions of the people in your council. I have 2 pragmatists, 2 glory hounds, and a zealot. So if I try to declare holy war, this guy will like it. This one zealot, this dude, he'll be happy with me. But if it's against a really powerful opponent, the pragmatists might not like that. If it's against a really weak opponent, the glory hounds might not like that. And again, you can get advisor slots as you become a king and an emperor that you can give out to your powerful vassals to make them happy. They don't do anything, but it's a way to just keep your council kind of calm. Finally, there's minor titles, and holy crap, could this be better organized. First off, court designated regent. I usually don't care about this because if you need a regent, you're in trouble. It's a way to get opinion and to guarantee that you're going to have someone useful as your regent. But regencies aren't that common unless you have a young character under the age of 16. So there's that. Court physician is a guy who's going to save your life if you're sick. You want a guy with high intelligence. That'll be your chaplain most of the time. So your chaplain's going to be your court physician. If you're in the Hermetic Society, you'll have an apprentice. Probably the same guy. Master of the Horse. So there's all of these different titles. And they all do stuff. So the Master of the Horse. It gives you some flavor text. This office dates all the way back to the Roman Republic. Cool, right? That's great. Does it actually do anything? Not really. But what it does is it gives you a +5 opinion. You have to pay them a little bit, 0.04 ducats, and it gives them prestige. But the Master of the Horse will like you more. So it's a thing you give out to a guy like this guy who's, he's mad that I kicked him off the council. I'm going to make him the Master of the Horse. Now he's going to like me a little more. It's just a little bit, but it can help. you can flip a guy from a negative or low opinion to a higher opinion. This is a way to control vassals. This is a way to make sure your heir likes you so he doesn't try anything stupid. I give these titles out typically to people that are on the border, like this lady. She -2. Well, guess what? Now you're the high alimony. Have fun with that. You like me more. Cupbearer. Some of them do more than others. Cupbearer is +5. High alimony is +5. I'm only a duke, so I can't get some of the best ones. You can make somebody a court jester. That's the one to be aware of, because court jester is going to be a negative opinion. He's going to like you less because it humiliates the person. I'm going to make this guy like me more. Court tutor is the default educator for all children at court. Honestly, this should be up here and highlighted because this is important. You want this to be a smart person. I typically make it a person who's good at stewardship. High learning score does not necessarily mean they're good at other things, and as a character develops their education, it's based on all of the things they own. Their teacher has, rather. So we're going to try to find someone who's well-rounded. It'll be you. And then there are commander slots. There are 4 commander slots, which again should have a different color, right? Basically, they like you more, but they can also command your armies. I'll show you that in a minute, but real quick, this guy has a score of 10. Let's see if we can find someone better. Click this, and it brings up a list of all the people in your realm that could be commanders. Commanders lead armies. They can get into fights. They can have problems. They can also have special traits, of which I see no characters have special traits. But you sort by martial score. You always want to look at the top martial score people, because the higher the martial score, the better the commander they are. So our current guy has a 10. This dude has an 11. He might be worth replacing, but there's one more thing to consider. And again, this may change with Holy Fury, so I'll do like a patch notes for that when that comes out. But this is a combat modifier. It can also be personal combat skill, but it's combat modifier. So this guy's got a score of 11, but he's got a morale defense penalty of -9 because he's Craven, meaning your morale defense is worse, meaning he's actually 9% worse. So he's almost as good as a 10. He's a little better than a guy with a 10, but he's not as good as a guy with an 11. Keep that in mind, especially because morale defense is huge. This guy, on the other hand, is brave. His morale defense is an improvement. It's +14%. Does that make him better? No. What's this guy? He's just a tough soldier. He's a good fighter. Okay, no big deal. This person is a tough soldier. This person is a skilled tactician. This person is a tough fighter. All right, so we don't have a lot of combat modifiers. Those can be really useful because you can have something like better at mountain combat. You can have something like better at organizing and moving. To show you how commanders work, click on a province, and you'll see these 2 little buttons here. We'll go over these in more depth, but for now we're just going to hit the Z key on our keyboard. That will raise your levies. Levies are your armies, right? So you raise local levies, not fleets. Those are boats. We don't care about them. It raises your levies. All your troops get summoned up. Commanders can be found when you highlight this. So you saw how I had 4 commanders? Well, here's 2 of them commanding armies. Here's the 3rd one, no character leading the right flank. Somehow, I can only appoint 2 commanders. I don't know why that is. I guess some of them refuse to be commanders. I don't know. Commanders can be a little wonky. So keep that in mind. But you generally want a commander on each flank because otherwise you just get a 0. And that's not good. And yeah, that's about it. So to fix this problem we're encountering, I can see that I have Diarmit. I can't move this window, can I? Nope. Some windows in CK2 you can move, some you can't. This is one you can't. Diarmit is commanding, Sion is commanding. So I'm going to go to my commanders list. I'm going to see Sion and Diarmit are commanding. That's good. You're not commanding anything. I'm changing you, just on principle. Now I have a 3rd name. Real quick, this little icon, the shield, indicates they are leading troops. You hover over this little tiny shield. It's hard to find. It'll tell you where they are leading troops. So if I am in this county, which I am, I'm in Thomond, for lack of a better way to pronounce it. It's giving me the Irish pronunciations. These 2 guys are commanding troops. This guy is not. I'm going to appoint him as a commander. Now, I have him commanding troops. He's good. Okay, good. This is the list of the army. You might occasionally want to reorganize a unit, but good luck with that when you have a small army. Highlight the army, hit X to stand down. Always check to make sure you're not standing down retinue, and you're good. And that covers, I know it's been a while, the Councilor's tab. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer them and help guide you in the right direction. When Holy Fury comes out, maybe you'll make a follow-up to this. If you enjoyed this episode, this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really does help the channel out. It lets me know what you're watching so I can make more of it. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And as always on this channel, La Paz.